Attention, due to the nature of the films discussed, the Civil Gore podcast may contain adult language and themes.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome to episode 118 of the Civil Gore podcast. I'm your host, Tim.
And this is Brian. And Tim, I'm excited because we finally get to talk about a movie that pretty much I want to say this appeared on one of the earliest dismemberments, and have always kind of been like a running kind of, not a joke per se, but a running commentary we would use for any time we wanted to like mention either candy corn, scarecrow, or a barn.
Yeah. I remember talking about this one on our Discmemberment. For some reason, I never tracked it down to watch it.
Yeah,
but I was always
here.
intrigued by the idea of the candy corn scarecrow. And
Right.
I will tell you, he lived up to my high expectations.
He did, and with his other friends too, with the Boogeyman and Hollow Jack or Halloween Jack.
Hollow Jack.
Hollow Jack. Okay, yeah. So I really like the legend, but we'll get into that, of course, when we do our deep dive into that coming up shortly after a brief first chop and a 3-hour dismemberment.
Yeah. Well, as you know, guys, Halloween is upon us, which means all the studios are just shoving horror disc out into the retail channels before Halloween to get those last minute horror movie sales going. So we will have a huge dismemberment this week. So let's get right into the show. This is our first chop. Okay, Brian, so I am steadily making my way through the horror movie challenge, which we'll talk about in just a few minutes, but I am continuing my 40 Years of Terror project as well. And 2009 came up. And I had a kind of a hard time finding something from 2009 that I had not already seen. And I stumbled across one on Hulu, which I needed for my horror movie challenge.
Yes, the power of hoodoo, you do.
Yeah, you do. This one is the Renee Zellweger vehicle from 2009, Case 39. I remember when this came out in the theaters, and I was slightly intrigued, but I did not go see it. And I kind of promptly forgot about it, as did most people, I think.
Yeah.
And I had no idea that Bradley Cooper is in this as well, which is kind of a pleasant surprise.
Well, that's like the second Bradley Cooper horror film I think you've had in your countdown.
And it's ones I don't know that he's in. He just pops up and I'm like, oh, whoa, there's Bradley Cooper again.
Because he was a Midnight Meat Train.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, I am drinking pumpkin spice coffee from my Bones Coffee pumpkin spice Jacked O' Lantern mug, which is now my new favorite mug.
And it was sold out, and I couldn't get one, so I have to wait till next year.
That's why I bought mine, because I knew they were going to sell out. They have some really cool mugs. I'll have to say, I spent way too much money for this, for a coffee mug, but it has definitely become my most favorite mug, and is very well made. It is handmade pottery. It's got the wide base, but the narrow mouth, which I like, because less surface area means your coffee cools off slower.
There we go.
Hint, hint. And because of the wider base, you're not apt to knock it over and spill it.
Which would be my biggest issue with coffee and mugs and
pretty
much anything that contains liquid.
I do not get paid from Bones Coffee. This is not a commercial, but I really, really am enjoying this mug. And it is worth the premium price you will pay for it. Although I will say you can find discount codes out there. That's what I did. Brought it down a little bit more reasonably. So getting back to Case 39, this is about a social worker. Renee Zellweger is a social worker who takes the case of this young girl who she thinks is being abused by her parents. And the movie starts off really slowly. I was getting rather bored with it for probably the first half hour. And I was like, what is it? I mean, because I didn't even know what this movie's about. I saw that it said I had a horror label on it, so I just went for it. And it starts off really slowly, and I'm like, is this like some kind of Lifetime drama type thing? What is this? And then it starts to pick up speed, and it gets kind of crazy. So I will say, I can't say that it's a fantastic movie by any means, and I can understand why it's kind of forgettable in theaters, but I actually kind of enjoyed this one, especially when things start picking up and you start realizing where the horror twist comes in. So I would cautiously recommend this one if you're kind of bored and looking for something to watch on Hulu.
They if they ever do those games, where you replace one letter to make it a horror film, I realize she's apt for that, because you could just do Bridget Bones's Diary. starring Renee Zellweger. So
Oh,
she got the
yeah,
double
yeah.
bonus. Just thought of that as I was listening to your description of it. Just shows where my mind is today. I'm like a little.
She's actually making a bit of a comeback with that Judy movie. She plays Judy Garland in a new.
Oh
biopic.
right, yeah. I heard that's really supposed to be really good.
Yeah.
Although I wouldn't have known because, which we'll get to in a first chop later. My Entertainment Weekly only comes once a month now.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get.
We'll
on our
discuss
soapbox
that in
about
a second. Yeah, we're gonna have an issue with that, but we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah. So moving on to our horror movie challenge, we're not going to go through the movies.
No,
we're just going to kind of
no.
go give you an update. Brian, I am on track to finish the horror movie challenge tomorrow.
Nice. You went there early. Of course, you gave me an idea actually by your accelerated pace there for next year possibly. 'Cause I'm already thinking of some of the objectives for next year because I know we've been changing the format up, but this seems to be our most popular format. It seems like this year was like the magic year for where we went in our, since it was our season 3, we went 3D, and I think that gave us a couple of good things because everyone loves the triple threat. Right?
Yeah.
And they love this year's horror challenge, just how we do it. So I think we should just up it with some harder challenges next year, but the same format. And I was thinking of one could be like, I'll give you guys a sneak preview, but how about Early Bird Gets the Squirm? As like if you finish the hard challenge before your 31 days, but you have to start on October 1st is the key. I know we said people could start a little early this year, but like next year you'd have to start on October 1st, but finish before October 31st and still complete all the objectives.
Yeah,
so I think that might be
a
fun one. I already got some down. I got to start writing them down so I don't forget them, but I got some really good ideas for next year's.
Yeah, I think
challenge.
Ken's been thinking some up for us as well.
Oh,
So-
yeah, and that's the thing too. If you have any ideas, send them in because I know Ken and Cody and Paul have had some ideas, so everyone should send those in.
Yeah, it's been really popular this year, and I'm
remember,
enjoying it too.
Yeah, remember, guys, it's I'll give you one more hint here. Make sure if you want to claim the full 1,000 points, you get all the objectives that are on that list.
1,000 points is your
is
maximum
yes.
score.
And I think I should finish probably some point this weekend if all goes well. There's obviously one I know which one I'm picking for my Deja Vu and everything, and that one's I think I had already said that would be Victor Crowley, which kind of grabs a bunch of objectives in once. So I'm saving that for the end to make it easier. But and then I actually have some, a couple are going to be because of actually what we're covering on the show. So that will get me a couple right there. So easily I will be able to finish this weekend unless like the power goes out and I end up with no TV or electronics of some sort.
My biggest challenge with this whole horror movie challenge is resisting talking about Evil Bong 666, which I desperately want to do.
I know, and that it sounds like from what you've told me just a little bit, I feel like that is a missed opportunity for a commentary we could have had.
Well, we've got 6 other movies in the series we can watch for a commentary.
That's true, and we have that other one that we kind of like just caught glimpses of when we were hanging out with Ken playing Horrified, that Funland movie, which we decided that has to be an upcoming commentary.
Yeah. All right, so next up we have the New Jersey HorrorCon March show announced, which will be our 1-year anniversary of the last HorrorCon.
Yes.
Friday, March 27th through Sunday, March 29th.
Yeah, and this year, like Tim and I had mentioned before, we're looking into. Hopefully we should be able to pull those off. We want to actually get a table this year. This will be our first con ever we'd actually be attending as a vendor, so to speak. And so I've been doing some early research and budgeting and see what it was like. I reached out to our good buddy Cassie Foltz, who we had on the show, and she had that great makeup table. She gave me some tips and stuff, a little bit of info on how to get the tables and stuff. So and that would be our goal, and we'd love to be able to just have a table there and record throughout the weekend and just have people come on, either just cosplayers, of course, some of the celebrities, the just a regular guest walking by. I think that'd be so much fun. So I'm already looking into getting that portable recorder and and some extra mics, so we have a nice little setup there, and hopefully maybe some swag, and so that would I think be fun. So once we get that all confirmed and everything, and we're gonna do that, we will definitely let everybody know. So anyone who's in the area wants to come visit it, and just even if we don't do that, we're definitely going to attend this con again because it was it was a game changer for us, really. And it was so much fun. So there's no way we're not going to do that. So regardless, unless obviously something comes up that would an emergency of some sort, we plan to be there at that con. So definitely, if you can, I would definitely recommend that because that'll be fun. You can hang out with Tim and I as we'll show you our secret spots. We'll do like the real Peterman tour. We'll like show you our famous spots like the elevator. And that one seat with the bar and the random hallway where everyone walks by and where Tim helped James Marsden order some food for his family. We got a lot of fun spots to show you. So.
And we can watch the disappointment on your face as you see us in person.
Yeah. You'll just so that's Tim and Brian. Okay, yeah, they're not as nearly. Now I see why they're on radio, on radio, so to speak, as than video podcast. But no. But it should be fun though. Either way, if you guys can attend that show, it is you will have the best time.
It's a lot of fun.
It's just there's like we've said a million times. It's just a casual, fun. Vibe to it, but without it being so overcrowded like some of the cons you go to that where you feel like you can't move. This just the whole setting of this place just makes it perfect for this kind of con. So
yeah. I had a couple of shows I've been watching kind of on the side, Brian, that I thought I would just mention for the podcast because I find them very entertaining. The first one is on Netflix. You guys may have seen it. It's called 2 Minute Horror Stories.
I watched the first one after you told me. That's really cool. It's
pretty good.
Things.
Yeah. The premise is, I think you guys have probably heard of 2 minute or 2 sentence horror stories that people write and post out there, kind of creepypasta type things. This is that concept taken into an anthology format, and the episodes themselves are not 2 minutes. They're full 20 plus minute episodes. But what they do is they give you the first line of this 2 sentence horror story, and then they show the episode, and then they give you the second line or both lines together, so you kind of get the complete picture. And they don't strictly follow the storyline per se in each episode, but they're all very entertaining. The ones I've watched so far, I haven't gone through the whole season, but they're pretty good.
The first one was really good with the woman, the mother, who's trying to get back in the dating world. That one's interesting.
Yeah.
Because it actually kind of, I didn't exactly know where it was going, but I think after I saw it, I kind of remember, I think it was based off, not a 2-sentence horror, but another type of those things. And actually, you gave me an idea when you said creepypasta. Has anyone invented creepypasta yet where it's like little pastas, but with Jason and Freddy and
Slender Man.
Slender Man. Yeah, has anyone ever done that? And made an actual creepypasta? A marketed creepypasta?
I think you're onto something. I think it might be a Kickstarter.
I know. We haven't done a Kickstarter in a while, actually.
I know.
Kind of glad we brought that back.
Yeah. The next one, up, this one just is fun to me. So it's called BuzzFeed Unsolved. And what this is, it's on Amazon Prime if you want to watch it. But, Brian and I are both fans of those paranormal ghost hunter shows and that kind of thing. Well, this is basically that, except they take one guy who is a complete skeptic. I mean, complete skeptic. He thinks it's all just BS. And then they take this other guy who's essentially scared of everything. And they put them together and have them investigating Bigfoot and ghosts and demons and all kinds of stuff. They spend the night on the Queen Mary. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. And it's just freaking hilarious, their conversations, watching them back and forth with this one guy doubting everything and the other guy basically jumping at every shadow or whatever. It's really entertaining.
What channel did you say it was again?
It's on Prime.
Okay,
and they have 6 seasons, and they're really short. Each episode, even the early episodes, sometimes are 10 minutes or 15 minutes. I think they started getting longer as they went on, and the show gained more popularity. I'm only halfway through season 2, but they're up to 6 seasons now. I don't know how current it is. I haven't really done a lot of research. I just kind of stumbled across it, and I thought it was hilarious. So check that one out if you guys get a chance. BuzzFeed Unsolved. It's really funny.
Nice. I want to see that because I think you had mentioned it once before. I want to see that.
Next up is the Holzer Files. I don't know what this is, Brian. What is this?
Oh my God.
This sounds amazing.
You need to see this show. Julie stumbled upon it the other day because it was at the end of a Dead Files episode. Like, it began like at the end of the DVR recording of the Dead Files, because she records all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And we started to watch it. She's like, what is this show? She goes, of course, she quickly looked on demand, and we found they had the first, 5 episodes on demand. She binge-watched the whole thing. It's so good, and it's super creepy. They have this old footage and audio recordings of Holzer himself, like, doing these investigations. And, oh, my God, it's super creepy. You gotta, watch some of this if you can get your hands on it. It's on the Travel Channel app, but I think you can I think it's on some other ways. Like, you see clips of it on YouTube and the Travel Channel. But I'll just read to you the official synopsis. But and then I'll go into a little quickly thing. So it's paranormal investigator Dave Schrader, psychic medium Cindy Casa, equipment expert Shane Pittman, and researcher Gabe Roth investigate terrifyingly true hauntings from the recently discovered case files of America's first ghost hunter, Dr. Hans Holzer. He's recognized as the father of the paranormal. Holzer's 4-decade-long exploration into disturbing hauntings like the Amityville Horror House spawned legions of supernatural enthusiasts, more than 120 books, and even inspired Dan Aykroyd to write Ghostbusters. So you got a legit guy here. It says, for the first time ever, Holzer's daughter, Alexandra Holzer, reopens her father's most captivating case files. So along with thousands of his documents, letters, photographs, and hours of chilling audio-visual recordings from as early as the 1950s, he's equipped with the treasure trove of paranormal knowledge and state-of-the-art technology. The team compares their findings with Holzer's to see if their modern research sheds new light on these half-century-old investigations.
Oh, that's
cool.
I mean,
oh my God, the premise of it is really cool to begin with. But some of the stuff they do now, again, it's when they go through, there's some similarities to the Ghost Files, not so much the come at me, bro. It's like almost like if you put, not Ghost Files, Ghost Hunters. That was what I was going to say was, it's kind of like if you mix the Ghost Hunters with Dead Files a little bit, how there's she goes through the house a little bit first, the medium, and she goes through with the camera guy and kind of sees some stuff, and then she calls that guy Dave Schrader in, and he goes in and they do some stuff and they capture stuff. So there's quote unquote proof that you see, there's one where he literally, you see him get knocked over and fly, and I was like, oh, come on, that could be done. But if you see the look on his face, he's either a really good actor or maybe someone they had some kind of trickery and he didn't know when it was going to happen. So, that's one of those things.
Cable yanked him up.
Yeah, it's up to you if you want to believe all that stuff. But just the creepiest thing to me is when they actually play the original files that they've
Now that's what I would
want to
see. That sounds
cool. And there's plenty of that on this. And there's just one where it's so creepy with this old woman. It almost reminded me of the oh, you do this to me, Timmy. But she's they're in the opening shot, the sequence. There's a thing where they're the guy's I guess he's talking to a spirit, and he's he's like, this is my house. And he's like, no, you're dead. It's not your house anymore. But he does it in his voice. It's super creepy. You just have to see it. I'm not even going to do it justice.
Oh, gosh.
But this show is so cool. And they do one that's a couple of ones that are in the area. There's one in Tarrytown, which is up in Westchester, which is kind of a haunted. There's a lot of stuff that's supposedly haunted around there. And I'd love to see if they pull up the Amityville horror one, which would be cool. But, I mean, the problem is I don't know if they'll ever be able people try and, that house is not a tourist attraction, So it's they try, I don't want people around. So I think that'd be really hard for them to get in there. And, I looked at an old thing. I was searching something. I don't know. I was searching one of the Amityville movies. And actually, when I Google searched it, up came the listing from a few years ago. It was only $835,000 to buy that house.
But you know what? Who the heck buys that stupid house and doesn't take advantage of the tourist opportunities there?
Right?
This is going to be a private house.
Right.
I mean, going in what you're buying.
Right. And now, granted, it could be the town of Amityville. I don't know. I mean, I just moved here the last couple of years. So I don't know what kind of ordinances they have. Maybe they were not allowed to do it, or maybe I mean, you could possibly have someone that's so clueless that didn't realize what they're buying, but I highly doubt it.
I don't know.
But there is a sign in front that kind of saying like, do not stop here. But technically, it's they can't really. Remember, like that guy told us in Wilmington, he goes, well, that's more of a, it's kind of like an ordinance, but they can't really enforce it. They could just tell you to move along. Like you're not really trespassing if you stop in front on a public street. It's just, just move along kind of a thing. So, but yeah, this show, I can't wait to see where this thing goes because it's just really interesting. Even if you're a fan of that, whether you believe it or not, you actually even if you're a fan of those type of shows, this one is really cool, and I highly recommend if you like those type of shows to watch this because it's just really entertaining and it's kind of cool. Like the medium is definitely not at the level of Amy Allen from Dead Files. Like she doesn't have all those abilities that Amy Allen supposedly has, but she's definitely more of a little bit of theatrics, I believe, but still it's really, really a cool show, and just the premise alone is enough should be able to grab you in there, no pun intended.
And finally, guys, do not forget this, Joe Bob's Halloween Hootenanny.
Yes, a triple feature.
Which we're going to be staying up for, I think, Brian.
Oh, yeah, I'm already planned. I have some kind of a little event but at my apartment complex, but that ends by like 8 o'clock, and this thing starts at 9. So it's probably going to go from like 9 to like 2 in the morning or something, because if he does his usual type of show and a triple feature, and he's probably gonna have some surprise guests.
Yeah.
And did you see his funny tweet earlier in the week? He put he tweeted out that he goes, some local craft beer bar, I guess, is making a craft beer called Halloween Hootenanny, and he just writes, craft beer? He's like, do they not even watch the show? So it is true.
True.
Of course.
He's not a craft beer guy.
No, he is Lone Star. And but I mean, I do enjoy my craft beer, but listen, I get it. That's not the right audience you're trying to get for a Joe Bob.
No. All right, guys, we got to get into our Discmemberment. These are our Blu-ray releases for October 29th. We're getting almost to the end of the month here, Brian.
Wow.
October 29th, our Blu-ray releases. This is our supersized Discmemberment.
Wait, no, please, God. No, don't cut off my...
Okay, where to begin, Brian? Oh my gosh, this is ridiculous. I don't know if did you pick your pick of the week? I highlighted mine. I'm going to save it for the end.
Yeah, I said, you know what? I actually didn't, because I have a couple, because I feel weird because I did only purchase one of these, which was what we're getting to, which is the number 2 one on the list. So I feel like I don't know if I should make that my pick of the week, but there's so many here that
I think that's a good
have
one.
Its merit.
Yeah, I think that's a good one.
But I think I'm going to stick with the one that I ordered, actually.
Okay.
I think I need to stand behind my purchase and make that my pick of the week.
That's right. Guys, there are probably a good 5 or 6 titles on here that I would say are pick of the week candidates that would be pick of the week any other week. But this is our big Halloween release, so just, have at it.
Yeah.
So first up is Godzilla, the Show Era films from 1954 to 1975. This is a Criterion release of, God, how many Godzilla movies are in this? I'm just going to name them off.
Yeah.
You get Godzilla, the original. You get Godzilla, King of the Monsters, of course. Godzilla Raids Again. King Kong vs. Godzilla. Mothra vs. Godzilla. Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster. Invasion of Astro Monster. Abira, Horror of the Deep. Son of Godzilla. Destroy All Monsters. All Monsters Attack. Godzilla vs. Hedorah. Godzilla vs. Gigan?
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't seen that one.
We need Adam Breckner.
Yeah. Godzilla versus Megalon. And then just tons and tons of these movies. And of course, given the great Criterion, the highest standards in terms of what they could remaster these as. So I am really excited for this. I have not seen a lot of the original Godzilla movies, so this would be a great set to have just to kind of catch up on the history.
Yeah, I did. Now, see, I used to watch them all the time. I remember we had that discussion with David A. Weiner on about when we were talking about the documentary, how we watched the monster movies during the week, and that was, Godzilla was the week that they'd have. They'd have all the ones, and I remember for Wednesday was always the one with I think it was retitled at one point. So I own it on DVD. It was called Godzilla's Revenge, but I think it's on this disc. I just don't remember the original name of it because I'm so used to being Godzilla's Revenge. It's the one where the little kid uses that little kind of control panel in his closet to go to Monster Island with Godzuki,
I remember that one. That is
and
seeing.
that was my favorite, and that one was I think that's one of these on this disc, if I'm not mistaken, and it just has the original title to it. I don't know if that one's the Calling All Monster one or not. I apologize if you have any Godzilla experts out there, along with Adam Breckner, can tell me. I mean, I could look it up, of course, but that one I'm sure has got to be on there. That was one of my favorite ones. And just in general, the Godzilla movies were some of the most fun movies you could ever see.
Yeah, they were great.
It's just great.
Next up is Brian. We're going to save that one for the end. We'll save that one for the end.
Yeah, because that's my pick of the week.
Next up, from Shout Factory, The Devil Rides Out from 1968. Devil worshippers plan to convert 2 new victims. That's kind of a low body count there.
Yeah,
but
I'm glad they gave a really, really big description on this one.
But I like the trailer for this one because it stars Mr. Christopher Lee.
Yeah,
and it has
really classic style Hammer trailer.
Yeah,
too.
very classic. I really wanted to see this one. It definitely has that late 60s, early 70s vibe to it.
Yeah.
This one has a new audio commentary with author, film historian Steve Haberman, which we've seen before, filmmaker, film historian Konstantin Nazer, and author, screenwriter Richard Christian Matheson. Nazer.
We need to get those two on our show.
I know.
We need to get,
So at least we can learn how to pronounce their names right.
Yeah, I mean, if bare minimum, we need to reach out to anyone knows them. Give us a connection.
New Satanic Shocks. Author, film historian Kim Newman discusses The Devil Rides Out.
Another film historian.
Yeah.
Wow.
Folk horror goes haywire. Author, film historian Jonathan Rigby discusses The Devil Rides Out.
Is this a record for
it might be
film historians?
This is cool. Audio commentary with Christopher Lee and Sarah Lawson.
Wow, Christopher Lee audio commentary?
That sounds cool. The Making of The Devil Rides Out. Dennis Wheatley at Hammer. World of Hammer episode. Theatrical trailers, and a still gallery. I mean, that's a great disc. That would be my pick of the week any other week, probably. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, me too. Just for that kind of those legendary special features for a movie like that, to have a commentary track by Christopher Lee.
Yeah, that's
alone
great.
That's worth the money.
Yeah. Next up, we have the Ringu collection from Arrow. This is the 1998 to 2000, and these are the original Ringu, not the Ring movies.
Right.
These are the.
At first, I thought it was those and the Ring ones, but no, it's just Ringu.
Yeah, this is has a brand new 4K restoration of Ringu. Let's see here. It's got a bonus feature, Spiral, George Ilda's 1998 sequel to Ringo, a new audio commentary on Ringu by film historian David Kalat. So more film historians there for you.
Oh.
New audio commentary on Ringu Zero by author and critic Alexandra Heller-Nicholas. The Ringu Legacy, a series of new interviews from critics and filmmakers on their memories of the Ringu series and its enduring legacy. A Vicious Circle, a new video interview with author and critic Kat Ellinger on the career of Hideo Nakata, and Circumnavigating Ringu, a new video essay by author and critic Kat Ellinger on the evolution of the Ringu series. Video essays, I'm just going through here. Archival interviews, more archival interviews, featurettes, deleted scenes, multiple theatrical trailers, and in the first pressing only, you get a limited edition 60-page booklet.
Oh, you had to say that? Now I gotta go.
I mean, that sounds like a really packed set. And that's the original, so you know, if you're just familiar with the American versions, this is a way to get your hands on the originals.
Yeah, and I want to get it because I want to get those because based on obviously through the horror challenge, I finally got around to watching Ju-On.
Yeah,
and just to show how much better the Japanese
really
versions
are.
Of these movies are. I mean, they're just so extra creepy. I mean, it's so much better.
Next up, we have from Severin Films a trio of releases. The first up is Paganini Horror from 1989. When a female rock band uses an infamous old piece of sheet music to record their new album in an old mansion, they accidentally open a portal to hell. I did not get that from the trailer.
Actually, I was going to say, is that what the plot is based off of this trailer?
Yeah, it had.
I don't think I saw a female rock person at all.
And it had, which I'm glad you pointed out the Puppet Master reference, because I swear they have a killer in this thing that looks exactly like Blade from Puppet Master, just life-size.
Life-size, and it's like, but he's got a violin that kills people.
Yeah,
it looks like
it's very
and it was
strange.
a blade. A blade comes out of it.
Yeah, it's very, very strange. This has a brand new 2K restoration, an interview with director Luigi Cozzi, an interview with actor Pietro Guidoardi, deleted scenes and alternate ending, trailer, and a bonus CD soundtrack, which is kind of cool. If the soundtrack's
This
any
is the
good.
one with Donald Pleasance, right? He's in there?
Yeah, Donald Pleasance is in here, and he was like last build. I was like, did I see Donald Pleasance?
I was
in
like,
this trailer?
I thought I saw, and I was all ready to type on fake Donald Pleasance in here but it really was him.
Yeah, it really was.
I was waiting for the confirmation throughout this trailer, which almost never came until the very end. But yeah.
Next up from Severin, Werewolf in a Girl's Dormitory from 1961. I tell you what, this is the kind of movie I would be going to see after I stopped at the malt shop for with Betty Sue.
Yeah, I feel like I would need to be in a convertible 57 Chevy watching this outside.
Yeah, that had that vibe from the trailer. At a girls' school, several students are murdered by a snarling, wolfman-like creature.
Yeah,
remember that the guy in the Frostbite Haunt that did that to me?
Yeah.
He like came up to my ear and he went, like freaked me out. Suspicion falls upon a newly arrived teacher. So this is like Teen Wolf, but if Teen Wolf was the teacher instead.
But this one by far though had some of the coolest like little like things into like this was like a Nervorama presentation, and then my favorite line was it had the big thing where it says for nerves of iron only. Is that more than nerves of steel? Like which outranks?
I don't know.
It?
I think steel is stronger, isn't it?
Right, steel is so you cannot have you maybe don't need nerves of steel to see this.
No,
just as long as you get to the iron.
Yeah,
just the below the nerves of steel.
Oh gosh, this one has a brand new 2K restoration, has a new interview with screenwriter Ernesto Gastaldi, alternate opening, Italian trailer, US trailer, and a bonus CD soundtrack. So not a packed disc, but it's kind of a niche film. I mean, that's kind of an oddball little entry.
But no Donald Pleasance.
But no Donald Pleasance in that one. This next one up, I'm not sure I really want to see.
I'm glad there was no trailer for this because I didn't even know. I looked just in case.
There was no
all
trailer.
I found was like a weird clip that in another language that I couldn't understand.
I went down a rabbit hole I did not need to go down. On YouTube
this was a dangerous Google search to try and find this. Yet it's funny. Thank God that this was mostly what came up.
Yeah. This one's called Byleth, the Demon of Incest.
There's a demon for everything nowadays, I tell you.
A boy is possessed by Byleth, the demon of the incest. The incest, not just incest. He wants to madly love his sister, but his tragic end will be the natural epilogue of this morbid tale.
Well, I'm glad they tell you. And now we really don't have to watch it.
There's no features listed, so I'm just saying just a hard pass on this one.
Yeah. By far, whatever the opposite of pick of the week is, this is probably it.
Yeah. This next one, it sounds very interesting. I cannot believe I have not heard of this movie. Two Evil Eyes. This is from 1990, Blue Underground. This is a Dario Argento and George Romero collaboration. Two horror tales based on short stories by Edgar Allan Poe, directed by two famous
You've heard of
horror
this and
directors.
you've seen things from it. You might not know the name. Tom Savini did all the effects for it. You've probably seen the clips a lot.
I must have, because I went into this, I was like, I don't know what this is, but I
didn't mean to cut you off, but I was like, no, Tim, I know you've seen pieces of this somewhere. No pun intended.
Yeah. I probably just didn't recognize the title.
Yeah, I'm sure that was it. Cause
one of the tales is a greedy wife kills her husband, but not completely. That's always the worst kind of murders that aren't quite complete.
Yeah. Half a head is hanging off. Yeah.
A sleazy reporter adopts a strange black cat, which that sounds familiar, so I may have seen this at some point. This has a Adrienne Barbeau in it. Has Harvey Keitel, which is cool.
Yeah. I'm telling you, you've had to.
I've had to have seen this.
Like I think I've seen this a long time ago, but I just remember seeing it in different like I always say I think I saw it like the picture of it in a Fangoria once, just of Tom Savini doing the effects from it, and I always said, I gotta see that again because But I'm sure I bet you if you go and watch it, you'll start to recognize some stuff from it.
Yeah, and it's a huge set because it's 3 discs. Disc 1 is a 4K restoration. New audio commentary with Troy Howarth, which I think he's one of those film historians, even though he's not labeled as one.
I know. He lost his cred on that.
Theatrical trailer, poster, and still gallery. Disc 2 has a new interview with star Rami Zada, new interview with star Madeline Potter, interview with composer Pino...
Madeline Potter.
Madeline Potter.
Sorry. You can't say Potter without saying it Potter.
You're a wizard, Madeline. Pino Donaggio. That's a cool name.
I drank some of that the other night. Yeah, I had a glass of that the other night.
Pino Donaggio. That was a great year.
Yeah, it's not bad. It was a good year.
Franco Ferrini interview. The Cat Who Wouldn't Die. Interview with assistant director Luigi Cossi. New Two Evil Brothers interview with special makeup assistant Everett Burrell. They just everybody down to craft services. Interview with costume designer Barbara Anderson. Tom Savini interviews. Director interviews. Savini's behind the scenes effects. At Home with Tom Savini. A personal tour of Tom Savini's house.
Wow, that really gets in there, Especially you love when he starts showing you the tile in his bathroom.
Yeah,
that's when.
Yeah, Adrian Barbeau and George Romero, and then disc 3 is.
Well, that's a little personal, don't you think? I'm surprised they went that far, but.
And disc 3 soundtrack CD. So I also has a collectible booklet and a reversible sleeve and a lenticular slip cover if you get the first pressing.
Oh my goodness,
that's a crazy packed disc. Again, another pick of the week if. On any other week.
Right? And that's like, you got a classic George Romero, classic Argent. What don't you get on this disc? And actually, I feel bad now. I even made a joke about our lovely friend we met.
Adrian Barbeau is awesome.
Adrian Barbeau, who is one, oh my God, she always plays these tough women in her, but was she not like the sweetest woman ever?
You wanted to, I literally want to pick her up and just put her in my pocket and keep her.
Yeah, she was such just a sweet. Oh my God! I hope she comes back there.
I did
see her again. Just give her a big hug.
Yeah, I just would give her a hug, just like the Gremlins mom. Actually, all of them were sweet. All of the ones we thought were sweet were sweet.
Yeah,
we thought were that we hoped would be were like
and all the ones who Biff blocked.
Undertaker from 2012. Brian, this is your guess for the week. Undertaker. Now, we'll give you a hint. This is a foreign film.
Yes, I have a confession to make. Since you linked the trailer up there, I accidentally watched it.
Oh.
But I will say, it still gave me no clue on what the hell this was about.
Well, it's okay because this was a trick question. This was a trick question. There is no synopsis. I can't find one.
So basically, my original notes, which I put there, and I'm like, oh, you know what? Maybe check them off. It kind of reminded me of a home movie meets a cutscene from a video game. That's what this trailer looked like. I got vibes of Shenmue, that video game. Remember that?
Oh, yeah. That was.
And I got vibes of that, and there was this really weird music that someone would play on a family reunion video. It was odd. I don't understand it. So it just looks like there's this one kid that walks around, but it's subtitled a Japanese zombie film. But I think I only saw a zombie in there, and I don't. Yeah, so. Yeah, this one was not. I was like, why couldn't you make the wolf goes to the dorm? My pick
because I'm never going to give you one that easy.
Yeah, but there's no way I could even. I literally watched this trailer, 4.5-minute trailer, no less. Still don't know what the hell this movie's about.
I don't know. I don't know either. I just thought it was funny because there was no synopsis. I was like, well, then his guess will automatically be as good as mine.
Yeah, and think about it, though. There's no synopsis because probably whoever was writing the synopsis is like, I don't know what this movie is about.
It's hard to find information on this one, actually. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, and it's not even it's a shot on video of some sort. It's definitely not film.
Yeah, it's weird seeing a low budget. I don't know what country this is. It looked Asian.
Japan. It's Japanese because it actually says a Japanese zombie film as one of the descriptions
because it was weird seeing a low budget Japanese film because usually by the time they make it over here, they're pretty fairly big budget or they were worth porting over here. So see one that was kind of shot on a camcorder is just kind of striking. I don't know. It's kind of weird, jarring.
And I was a little disappointed because when I saw the title, Undertaker, I was expecting Paul Bearer to come out Undertaker, but no, there was.
Well, that's actually that's another reason it's hard trying to find information on this movie because if you search Undertaker, that's all you get.
And it's rest in peace. Yeah, that's all you get.
Yeah. The next one up is one I really want to see because it's right up my alley. 1977. This one is from Synapse Films. Watch Me When I Kill. A pharmacist is murdered, and a woman happens to see the culprit leave the scene. She soon finds herself being stalked by the killer, and when her boyfriend tries to discover who the murderer is and stop him, he begins to find out that there's much more to the murder than the ordinary killing it first appeared to be.
Yeah, I kind of got like some like Dress to Kill vibes through this.
Yeah, this one
A little bit.
new 4K remaster from the original negative. It has an isolated music-only track, original theatrical trailer, TV spot, and radio spots. Audio commentary by film historian and author Nathaniel Thompson, which sounds very scholarly.
Yeah.
An interview with academic Mikhail Coven. Okay.
The regular film historians are not good enough.
No,
it's the academics
academic.
now. These are the people that put mutard on their hot dogs.
3 short films from director Antonio Bido. Danza Macabra. Danza Macabra.
Wait a minute, is he a descendant from Mondo?
I don't know. Mendelssohn im Jüdischen Museum. Ken will have a field day with my pronunciation of that one.
Oh my God, he's already see him
he's already
typing.
furious.
I already looked in our text feed and I see it.
He's
Even though
already
he hasn't
texting me.
heard this yet, I see the little 3 dots, knowing that he's texting us to correct
It's like,
us.
you took 3 years of German. Why couldn't you pronounce that better?
I know. I think I loved it. He knew all the Miranda Sings candies from that one
That was
little
awesome,
snippet we
yeah.
saw. Yeah, Knoppers, licorice.
Licorice. My still favorite is Toffee Crips.
Oh yeah, and then my
Toffee
favorite
Crips.
thing is that like the kids are like totally not even paying attention anymore, and yet all the adults are mesmerized and hysterical laughing
Yeah,
at
Miranda Sings.
that Miranda.
Yeah, this one, I kind of want to see this one. This one looks cool.
Yeah.
Another 70s giallo-esque.
Yeah, I feel like they ripped off the Friday the 13th score though. I wonder if Harry Manfredini has anything to say about that.
Yeah.
If you listen to it, it's very. I mean, without the.
Yeah.
But you know, it's like. Yeah.
The next up, I didn't put any information on this one because it's just a reissue of a remake, The Thing from 2011 from Mill Creek
Yeah.
Entertainment. I didn't hate this remake. I mean, it's not a remake. It's like a prequel, right?
I don't.
I think it's a
remember
prequel.
now.
I'm pretty sure it's not a remake of The Thing. It's either a prequel or a sequel. I can't remember,
Right.
but I remember not hating it. I'm not saying it's great, but I remember not hating it.
I don't remember much of it in all honesty. So.
The Human Monster from 1939. This is from VCI. This is a Belo Lugosi production.
Or your logic professor.
Yeah, or my logic professor, whichever accent you choose to use. Insurance agent physician collects on policies of men murdered by a disfigured resident of the Home for the Blind, where he acts as doctor on call. That's a nice gig. This one stars Bela Lugosi. Bonus features include extensive poster and photo gallery, original U.S. reissued theatrical trailer, archival video, intimate interview with Bela Lugosi, which that sounds cool to see an actual interview with him.
Yeah.
Liner notes written by film historian Patrick McCabe, a commentary track by noted film historian, author, and Bela Lugosi expert Gary Don Rhodes. Commentary.
I've heard that name before, actually. I think I've seen something with him, Gary Don Rhodes, talking about.
This week has to be a
Lugosi.
record for different number of film historians. Commentary track by film historian David Del Valle and author, screenwriter, and monster kid Fof Sutton. Fof.
I would say Fef because Jeff is spelled that way, sometimes, when you...
I don't know what. P-H-O-E-F. I don't know what that is.
Fof. Fef.
Fof.
I like. Let's go with Fef.
That sounds like a Dr. Seuss name. I love it.
It does.
When I make fun of people's names, guys, I am not making fun of the person. I love interesting names. I always have.
Yeah.
And I think it's hysterical. Like, I have a very bland, boring name, but I love people with unique names, so it's not a
And I
disrespect.
love listening to Tim try and pronounce them,
Yes,
so I get
as
an
do
extra
most of
joy
our
out
listeners.
of that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Next up is Plaguers from 2008. This is a Wild Eye release. You're gonna love this one, Brian. When a band of sexy space pirates hijack a fuel transport vessel bound for Earth, an alien virus known only as Thanatos
Really?
Yeah,
Thanatos?
Thanatos. He's like Thanos' cousin, I guess.
Yeah.
Is accidentally released. The contagion mutates its victims, transforming them one after another into ravenous demonic creatures. Pirates and crew must join together to destroy the undead Plaguers as the ship nears Earth, threatening to infect the entire planet.
I just wrote hashtag space zombies.
Yeah, that's what this is, yeah.
It's pretty much what you got.
It's a very low-budget affair.
Oh my god, the space effects?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's,
jeez.
yeah.
They're like,
Now, this one sounds really cool. This is Night Beast from 1982. This is a...
Why, did you change all the fonts on our thing all of a sudden? It, like, went weird.
Probably.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Everyone's like, what is he talking about fonts? But yeah, Tim and I share a rundown on a Google Drive
I
here,
haven't actually changed
all of a
it.
sudden, everything just changed into, like, this fancy font.
So
I don't know what
Vinegar
happened.
Syndrome just went crazy this week. They released 7 titles. First one up is Night Beast 1982. A creature from outer space crash lands in a small town and starts killing people. This one has an audio commentary with writer-director Don Dohler and actor George Stover. Sorry. That crazy font I just did is screwing me up. An electric performance, an interview with actor Jamie Zamarl. An interview with that visual effects artist John Ellis. Shooting the Night Beast. Interview with cinematographer Richard Gewitz. These names are killing me. Archival interviews with the cast and crew, outtakes and bloopers, visual effects gallery, original theatrical trailer, reversible cover artwork. And I will let you read your notes here on this one, Brian.
Yeah. So I wrote, this has got Last Drive-In written all over it. Bad effects foo. Trailer boobs foo. Wanna be Donald Sutherland, but your hair is too gray and too curly foo.
You know what I loved about this one, though? Is this the one where the creature looked like the toilet thing from the Ghoulies?
Yes, it was.
He looks just like a grown-up version of that.
He does. What is with, like, these, like, small things becoming full-size this week on Blu-rays? What the hell's
You
going
know that's
on?
what I'm talking about, the Ghoulies 2? Was it Ghoulies 2?
Yeah, well, he's coming out of the toilet.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was him, just like grown up.
but big, yeah. And, like,
but he's like Predator. But imagine the Ghoulies 2 as Predator. That's what this movie is. Next up from Vinegar Syndrome, Bloody New Year from 1987. 5 shipwrecked English teenagers take refuge.
Who gets shipwrecked in the 80s? Come on, people. Really?
Shipwrecked English teenagers take refuge in an island hotel that is decorated for New Year's. The problem is, it's early summer. And soon enough, even the walls themselves are striking out against them.
Well, then, now that I hear that description, I think my little trailer notes are perfect. Because I said, what on earth is going on in this trailer? First, it is an amusement park home video that turns into an 80s slasher, I think.
I don't know. This one was really weird. Commentary track with director Norman J. Warren.
Maybe he'll shed some light on it.
I have no idea what was going on in this movie.
Yeah.
Next up is Satan's Slave from 1976, another Vinegar Syndrome release. A young girl is caught up in a devil cult run by her evil uncle and cousin. She can trust no one, and even people she thought were dead come back to haunt her.
Oh, family.
Yeah. What are you going to do? No audio commentary of film historians Sam Dagan and Kat Ellinger. I swear every single film historian in the United States has come on this week. Creating Satan, making a featurette. All You Need Is Blood. Archival making a featurette.
Oh, that's a good name for an objective next year.
Yeah, it is. And as a Beatles fan, I really love digging that title.
Well, what would be the title? Do you have to have a horror movie with a member of the Beatles in it? Because
I don't think that exists. Yeah.
Well, I bet you Ringo Starr did one somewhere along the line.
Yeah, he probably did. Sell out. Yeah. Fragment, a short film written and directed by Norman J. Warren. Multiple theatrical trailers, multiple deleted scenes, reversible cover art. Right, I swear to God, we're on the same wavelength.
You saw them, right?
There was grown Jawas in this movie. Yes,
yeah. It was grown Jawas. They were taller. Well, look, it was 76, right?
Considering
our 77.
Considering our tradition of small things growing into large versions.
Yeah, what is with this month? But yeah, I mean, so it would not shock me if they just happened to find one, either George Lucas or this guy found these lying around the studio.
Yeah, grown
these
Jawas.
robes.
This next one up, I got to see this movie. This is called Berserker from 1987. 6 young adults in the woods run afoul of a berserker's rage. A Viking warrior who dons the skins and snout of a bear. Terror of a quick death with no immediate escape in sight. They have no time to run or to pray for death.
That's most awkwardly worded synopsis.
This trailer is awesome. It's a dude running around in a bear head killing people.
Yeah, but the weird thing is then it looks like there's an actual bear at some point.
There is.
And there's a couple of shots where I'm like, oh my God, these effects are so bad. He's not even moving. And then I'm like, oh my God, the camera work is so bad that you could see the guy pretending to be the bear. But then I realized, no, he's supposed to be just wearing a bear mask. But it's the way the trailer is laid out.
That's what I thought,
they
too.
They reveal you slightly.
I was like, that's the fakest bear I've ever seen. And I realized, it is a stuffed bear, like, but it's on his head.
Yeah, you gotta see
This
the
looks
trailer.
awesome.
Yeah, because it's like, and all I could think of is Berserker, but still, you gotta like
Berserker. That's what they should have called
Berserker. But yeah, that'll be our version of it. This screams for one of our.
Oh my god!
Also.
You write this down along with Fun Park or whatever, and because I want to see this movie. Like, this would be a hilarious.
Yeah, but I think we need to see this one together.
Yeah,
live. Yeah, because this is.
Next up from Vinegar Syndrome, we have a Amityville collection. Amityville: The Cursed Collection. Don't get too excited. These aren't the best of the Amityville movies.
I only see one listed. What happened?
There's multiple. You getting the?
Oh, I see. It's about time.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. These are like the ones I never heard of.
Yeah, Amityville: The Evil Escapes, Amityville: It's About Time, and Amityville: The Dollhouse. And these each have some interviews and I think just interviews, no commentaries on these for all three of these.
Is a New Generation? Is that one too, or is that a feature?
New Generation is probably on here because I think it's 4 films. Yeah, New Generation is on here as well.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's not the one that where Diane Franklin returns, right?
I don't know. I'm not sure which one because
she's in one that's. Oh no, she's in the Amityville Murders, which is I think now on. It's on a streaming service.
There's so many of these guys. Oh my gosh, so many.
Well, that's pretty impressive. She's managed to be in 2 separate franchises. Remember, that was part of her trivia, actually. So,
next up from Vinegar Syndrome, Unmasked.
I gotta see this one.
We're still not through. Unmasked Part 25, 1989. This is a horror parody from the late 80s. So take that for what it's worth. Jackson is a lonely serial killer who is really beginning to question the point of all his killing. He is losing focus on why he started to kill in the first place. The future looks bleak until he meets a blind girl, Shelley, who begins to show him that life isn't so bad. It is all up to Jackson to decide if he's going to stop killing and start learning responsibility and think about finding a real job and starting a family. And this looks so cheesy. I guess oh my god.
Yeah, and I guess in this world there's no background check, so he could probably just easily do that. Just move on to a family and a new job after leaving a series of bloodied corpses. But and the funny thing is, so when I got this, I heard of this movie, like I'd seen it listed somewhere. Like, I won't even say it may have been one of the streaming services. However, I don't think I realized it was a horror comedy. So when I first saw the trailer for it, I'm like, is this serious? Is this like a British Jason? Like, is that all this is? It's a Jason that talks because he's wearing the hockey mask? But no, then I realized it was a horror comedy, so it didn't come as funny. Yeah. Which is sad because when I thought it was serious, it was funny. Now when I thought it was a horror comedy, it wasn't as funny, but I still want to see it because it still looks interesting.
I'm hoping they did not save the funny parts for the trailer because that was really bad.
I hope not.
Yeah, it does have,
and it was very cliched. Of a joke that they showed in the trailers.
And two audio commentaries, one with director Anders Palm and one with producer Mark Cutforth.
And when I say British Jason, because he is wearing a hockey mask and he's got an accent, but do you think like there's a sequence where he's going and he's like, kill, mother.
Probably. I wouldn't put it past this movie. It looks really bad.
Yeah.
And then finally we have Beyond the Door 3 from 1989. I had no clue what was going on.
3?
Yeah. A shy co-ed and her classmates travel to Europe to see a ritual. That never turns out well, as you know from Midsummer. With a Satanist professor with them, he lures them into deadly traps to become sacrifices to Satan. One co-ed is a virgin, the main key to bring Satan back to life. But can the co-ed lose her virginity before Satan controls the world? Wow. So, video interviews on this one, and I'll let you read your notes there, Brian.
Yeah, I wrote, when you start a trailer with boobs and a beheading, I think you can pretty much tell what type of film you're getting. Oh, yeah, and there's also a train.
Yeah. So.
Which I would wonder if I could get a hold of this on a streaming service and watch this for my my Paradise by the Dashboard Frights objective.
Yeah. I watched it.
I have another movie planned currently for that, but this would take the cake. I think I would take that for this one if I could get a hold of this in time.
All right, we're still not through with our dismemberment this week. We have our picks of the week. Oh my god. So right. Brian, I am going to go with An American Werewolf in London, 1981. This is the Arrow release, the collector's edition. This one looks fantastic. Of course, it's one of my favorite horror movies of all time. It has a new 2018 4K restoration supervised by John Landis. So this is the best this is going to look.
I'm going to have to double dip.
Yeah, it's got 2 new audio commentaries, one with Beware the Moon filmmaker Paul Davis and one with actors David Naughton and Griffin Dunn. It has a newly produced feature-length documentary by filmmaker Daniel Griffith called Mark of the Beast, The Legacy of the Universal Werewolf.
Oh, what a Tim documentary.
Yeah, a newly filmed interview with John Landis, in which he reflects on his time working in Britain and British cinema. I Think He's a Jew, The Werewolf's Secret, new video essay by filmmaker John Spira.
But you got to say it like my people would, Tim.
Oh, okay.
I think he's a Jew, goddammit. The Werewolf's Secret, new video essay by filmmaker John Spira. And how about John Landis explores the Jewish identity, for God's sake?
Okay. You do that much better than I do.
Yeah.
So you can do that. I can't do that and it'll be offensive.
Well, yeah, no, it's my people, so I'm part of the tribe. I can do it.
We got some more interviews here, new featurettes. I'm just kind of browsing through this because there's a bunch of stuff on this disc. Makeup artist Rick Baker interview, archival interviews, archival footage, outtakes, original trailers, extensive image gallery with over 200 stills, double-sided fold-out poster, limited 60-page booklet. I mean, this thing is packed. This is a great, great era release. So if you want the definitive version of this movie as it stands right now, this is the one to get.
Yeah, and we were actually holding off doing that movie till I get my friend Mark on there because his name is actually mentioned in this movie. Obviously not him, but his name is mentioned, and it used to scare him because when he first watched it, I guess he was home alone when he saw it, and it scared him because they mentioned his name. So I told him, I said, when we'll do that movie, that's when he's got to make his debut.
That gives me an excuse to pick up this disc then.
Yeah, and I have to say that. Get ready because you and I will probably be hysterical laughing because Mark and I have said many a time I think we share the same brain. So and of course I thought Mark and I were the only two people that laughed at Fruit Please. But then when I found out you and Kevin laughed at it, I'm like, it was a match. We have to have all of us on at that point to discuss Fruit Please.
Yeah.
So so that'll be a fun episode. We'll have to put that on the calendar. We definitely have a couple of. The thing is, it's like we're actually getting to the point in our podcasting careers, we have so much planned coming up that it's like we're actually having some almost like scheduling conflicts in some ways. Not conflicts, but like we actually have to really look now at our scheduling. Because we still have to have, we're still doing our upcoming episode of Silver Bullet with our buddies at Theme Park Families, Adam and Andrew. And and then we have a surprise for next week, which I still don't want to announce yet.
Yeah, that's a big one.
But it's going to be something we've never done before. I'll say that. And if all goes well, it's going to release actually on Halloween.
Which is super cool.
So you have a special Halloween treat. Yeah, so when you come back from trick-or-treating or whatever celebration you're doing and you watch your movie, you can listen to a very special episode. And that's all I'll say. But so we actually have so much fun stuff coming up. We're planning a really fun episode for our episode that lands on Black Friday. I don't want to mention what the movie is but we're trying to work on some special things for that. Not going well yet, but
and we're definitely gonna do our planes, trains, and automobiles.
Yes,
watch.
We got to do that. I think we'll do a couple of commentaries because that's what we tend to do. Maybe what we should do this year is try and put a couple of commentaries so when we're actually off those few weeks in December, we can just drop commentaries through those weeks. So people don't they still get some Civil Gore stuff without us having to do
anything.
The stuff.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll go to my pick of the week, which is one I actually ordered so far. I already pre-ordered it, and that was one we actually covered on Civil Gore, which was good, which was The Blob from 1988, the cheesy but awesome 80s remake with the best trunk in movie history, where that guy opens the trunk and he's got that whole like display. But yeah, and this was just a great Shout Factory release that I just have to get. I mean, the Shout Factory releases, they're so hard not to buy.
Oh, I know.
They do such a great job. Yeah, and I mean, look, there's an audio commentary with the awesome Shawnee Smith on here. I mean, there's a ton of great interviews. There's a thing with I guess an interview with Candy Clark, who, of course, we love in a bunch of movies. She was in Q, she was in this. I mean, just go through the list of her credits. There's even an interview with Bill Moseley on there. I mean, Tim can read the rest in here. There's so many
ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's your normal Shout Factory Collector's Edition. I mean, and you're going to want it for this movie because it was really, truly, I think, one of the best horror movies to come out of the 80s, the late 80s for sure.
Yeah.
In terms of not being part of the big franchises and being a remake of a classic monster
Right.
movie. I mean, it was just to my mind, it's one of the best classic monster remakes of all time, along up there with The Fly.
Right, and any disc where you can actually have an interview with a person who is titled Blob Mechanic.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you not buy that disc?
All right, guys, so that's our Discmemberment. I'm sorry that we killed your wallets this week, but there's some great, great stuff coming out that you're just going to have to... You can put some of that stuff on your Christmas list this year, so...
Yeah, because that's one of the things, of course, that's one surprise coming up. Of course, not really a surprise, we do it every year, but we will have our annual holiday gift guide. And this year, I feel like more than ever, there's going to be just... It could be your literal holiday list could be just
Blu-rays,
filled with Blu-rays.
I think I'm going to ask. I think this Christmas there's not a whole lot of stuff I really want, but I think that may be one of the things I put on there is some of these really nice Blu-ray sets I haven't had a chance to get yet.
Yeah, because I mean, especially my mom is someone that loves going on Amazon, so I usually put a list, and I usually get a big chunk of my Blu-rays from my mom on the list. So
all right, so let's get to our feature movie this week. We're probably not going to talk about this one in great detail because, there's not much of a plot to it, and that's not a jab at the movie.
Not a knock
on the movie by any means. It's just a very straightforward 80s style slasher plot, so there's not a lot to talk about in terms of the storyline. We are going to talk about The Barn from 2016. This is directed by Justin M. Shaman?
I think it's I don't know. I would say Seaman because it's SEA,
but it could be Shaman. Yeah, I don't know. So I'm sorry, Justin, for that.
Yes,
we'll have to look that up. Starring Mitchell Mussolino as Sam, Will Stout as Josh, Lexi Drips as Michelle.
That is one of my favorite. I did it backwards, didn't I?
Cortland Woodard.
Sorry.
Cortland Woodard is Chris. Nikki Howell is Nikki. Nicholas Joshua is Russell. Linnea Quigley as Miss Barnhart, and Ari Lehman, who we also met at New Jersey HorrorCon, as Dr. Rock.
And that is, by the way, you ever see his band First Jason?
Oh, they're awesome.
Performing, go see them. They were awesome. Yeah, definitely.
So the synopsis for this one: it's Halloween 1989, and best friends Sam and Josh are trying to enjoy what's left of their final Devil's Night before graduating high school. But trouble arises when the two pals and a group of friends take a detour on their way to a rock concert, finding an old abandoned barn and awakening the evil inside. Now it's up to Sam and Josh to find a way to protect their friends and defeat the creatures that lurk within the barn. And let me tell you guys, I have seen a lot of these 80s style retro films because it's been done a lot. And for my money, this one is probably the most accurate depiction of an actual 80s slasher that I've seen in a number of ways. Number one, instead of just putting a cheap filter on everything, they actually tried to use 80s filming and lighting techniques.
Yeah, it's very grainy.
It's very grainy. I mean, they may have used some kind of filtering or something, but it looks more authentic, as I guess is what I'm trying to say, than a lot of these retro remakes we've seen. And the other thing I found was very interesting, and I don't know if you noticed this, Brian, and I don't know if it's a happy accident or if this was intentional. I have to believe it's intentional. But even the way the editing was done is very reminiscent of those movies. The acting and the editing and the way some shots linger a little too long and all that stuff was spot on. I was really impressed with the authentic feel of this one as opposed to a lot of the other retro attempts that I've seen.
Right, and you could have actually, if someone just handed you this movie to watch and did not tell you the year and said what decade, guarantee you, I'd say 99% of the people would say 80s. Now, I think there's a couple of little clues to tell you it's a little bit later, but still, I mean, from the think that they were in that, were they in like the roller skating rink or whatever they're in? Yeah. Like that kind of a thing. It's just that kind of thing is stuff you did back then. So, but I think there was something where it was like, it wasn't as obvious as like a modern technology or something. But just I think that's something that was said. I think that triggered it. I can't remember.
They might have given it away just a little bit.
giving it away. But I mean, that's just, you'd have to be paying attention. Most of it was very, and here's something that I was shocked at, and not to give you a spoiler because it happens in the first 5 minutes of the movie. They kill a kid pretty viciously in this movie.
Oh, I love that.
Which you never see.
No, I absolutely love
that.
That was the minute I knew this movie was going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, because I expected them to cut as that pickaxe was coming down, but not only that, you get it like, and sorry for the spoiler again, but you get this thing slammed right into this girl's head, and she screams as it's in her head for a couple of seconds.
I don't know.
Blood pours out.
Oh, I'm laughing maniacally at a young child getting murdered, but
you never see that.
It just makes me laugh that they had the balls to do that.
I mean, Sleepaway Camp did that kind of stuff,
yeah,
but
I don't know. It makes me laugh.
Most of the time you don't see that. It's implied, and maybe you'll see aftermath, but you rarely see.
Oh,
yeah. It's a teenager, sure. They were a free game, but like a young kid who was probably she was probably 12,
Yeah,
13?
yeah. It was great.
Yeah.
The other thing this movie I really loved was they created not one villain, which you would expect them to have one major villain. This one has 3 major villains. And they're all kind of given equal screen time, more or less, which I really loved about this movie. And you get one called the Boogeyman, and he sort of looks like he's kind of your more traditional slasher. He looks kind of like, I don't know how to describe him, right? He's kind of like I keep wanting to say like a miner.
Yeah, he's a miner, not a young
like
child,
a coal miner,
but
type guy.
a coal miner.
Yeah.
He's like a coal miner kind of dude with like a weird face.
Yeah,
but and it's like in all honesty, describe him probably wouldn't do him his justice, because I have to say, I don't know what the budget was on this, but I know that the low budget on everything else was such a positive for this movie. However, you see, they probably spent a good chunk of change on the villains, so to speak, in this.
Yeah.
Because the 3 killers in this were like they were really fantastic to look at, especially Hollow Jack.
Yeah, Hollow Jack was the next one. He's your typical pumpkin-headed monster, which I love anything with a pumpkin head. Like,
right.
I love
but
it.
he had the little flames in his eye, which was cool.
Yeah, he actually had a light-up head.
He was literally a jack-o'-lantern walking around, which was really cool.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for that. Like, I don't know why. I don't know if it's genetics or heredity. Why do I like pumpkin-headed creatures? I like Jack Skellington. Because he's a skull. He looks like a pumpkin.
Yeah, but it's close. But that's why you need to see that movie. That series of movies, The Territory, because there's that Pumpkin Jack character in there that he's in both the movies.
I even like the kids watch the Curious George cartoon where there was this pumpkin headed thing on there. I even like that because it had a pumpkin headed dude on it. So yeah, I love the Hollow Jack character, and then our sentimental favorite, the candy corn scarecrow, who literally has candy corn for teeth, which I thought was just freaking awesome.
Yeah.
And I love scarecrow stuff too. That's another thing I'm a sucker for, is like scary scarecrows. I love it. So yeah, those are the 3 villains, and I absolutely loved that they were almost kind of like sprung out of existence, these 3 legends that I could totally buy into being something that we should have already known about. They kind of they already had that feel that they were this Halloween legend, even though they were invented for this movie.
Right. Yeah, there's like it's a corny premise, but one that you feel like you've almost heard before at the same, which you probably didn't, of course.
But it just had that.
So
it had that classic Halloween vibe to it. That's what I loved about it. It
evokes some of the feelings I had watching Trick or Treat.
Yes,
exactly, how it had that like there are rules for Halloween out there, and you don't follow the rules, which is good because based off of the actual legend of Sam Hain and All Hallows Eve and all that stuff, there's this real mystical backstory to it. And so I like when movies kind of, without so overtly just going right to it, kind of make their own storyline based off of that.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what this did, and that's what Trick or Treat did, and that's why one of the things where I think would draw a lot of horror fans to this movie. And I've heard nothing but good things. Like, actually, we got into one of our people we follow on Twitter, and she follows us as she's great for horror stuff, is Creepazoid Kelly, and she brought it up today. Actually, and so we had a little tweet conversation back and forth, talking about how great it was, and Linnea Quigley was on the actual like tweet feed. I don't know, she didn't comment on anything that I saw so far, but yeah, so that was kind of fun to go back because it seems like a lot of people in the horror community that have discovered this movie really like it.
I think the only problem is the title, because I think if it had had a more Halloween type title, it might have gotten more notice. But
plus, there's another movie called The Barn that's on Amazon Prime also, which almost the same.
Yeah,
which shows a barn. So, and that's the one we always thought had the candy corn scarecrow.
Yeah, that's the problem. I think
this one.
I think that title was just a little too non-descriptive of what the movie actually is. And it was kind of ironic that movie Candy Corn was actually a more apt title for this movie than it was for the Candy Corn movie I watched. So. Yeah.
Actually, our game title, Triple Threat, might be better.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's that. You're right. If there is a knock on this film, it's the title probably wasn't great. I mean, granted, yes, the barn. Like when you watch the movie, you see why they called it that. But I think it diminishes how great. Now that could have been intentional because maybe they wanted to have you sort of surprised by all the other stuff that's going on in there, and that you thought it was just some typical barn that was haunted or something, and then you get all this extra cool stuff.
Yeah, I just wish it lets you know more what a big Halloween tie-in this is, because from my mind, this is like this one's going to go into my Halloween rotation.
Right, and now I'm upset that I didn't pick it up when it actually was a Blu-ray, and it's out of print, the Blu-ray now already, I think. So, I mean, well, at least on Amazon. I'm sure we can find it at other places, and I think I'm going to hunt this down because, yeah, Tim's right. I want this in my rotation, actually, because it was that good, and that movie. See, I love movies that kind of like that capture that Halloween spirit that that you don't really find, where like a Trick or Treat did it with that town that everyone was trick or treating and walking around, and I got to tell you, now that I've seen it firsthand, Tim's house feels like it could be in one of those towns, the way he's got those great decorations.
Oh yeah,
and your house really stands out on your street because of that, and it's really really cool. I wish all the houses matched.
Speaking of that, Brian, this is weird. This is a real life weird story. So. Olivia had gone out to get pizza the other night, and I was staying in. The kids were with my mom, so we were home alone. It was pouring down rain. It's about 8:30, and I hear the doorbell ring, and I was like, that can't be Olivia, because she couldn't be back already. So I'm usually fairly skeptical about opening the door to anybody at night, but for some reason I just kind of opened the door thinking Olivia maybe had forgotten something. And there's this little old lady standing on my porch. And I was like, hey, can I help you? And she's like, I just wanted to tell you, your Halloween decorations are the best in the neighborhood. And I'm like, okay. And she's like, I just love Halloween. And I think your spider web is magnificent. And I live around the corner. And I just wanted to tell you that I loved your Halloween decorations. And I was like, oh, well, thank you very much. And then I'm going, this lady has no car that I can see, and it is pouring down rain, and she has no umbrella. And this was really weird. And it's 8:30 at night, and she stopped by my house to comment on my Halloween decorations. But
she said she lived around the corner.
Well, she said she lived in like the apartment complex, which is kind of around the corner, but it's still a pretty good ways.
Was it 80 years ago?
I don't know.
She died tragically. That's what somebody else was telling.
15 years ago. I was telling a coworker, she was like, "Are you sure she was real and not a ghost?"
Yeah, because that's what it sounds like.
It was really creepy, and I was like, I mean, she was a very pleasant lady, and she was nice, and I thanked her profusely for stopping by, because I thought it was very kind of her to make such comments about my Halloween decorations, but it was really kind of eerie that, if it had been like 4 p.m, I would have thought nothing of it, but
Did you make sure none of your neighbors were like hung up by their like feet like afterwards as she passed by the houses that didn't have
Olivia was
decorations?
convinced she's casing the place for her burglar grandsons or something. I don't know.
Can you imagine
I
that?
don't know. I was like, well, if they did a really good job recruiting her because she was very innocent acting. But yeah, so anyway, I got good comments on my Halloween decorations, but kind of in a creepy way. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
The other thing I really liked about this movie that it does not follow is the typical 80s formula for the final girl, because this one actually has two final guys in it, which I thought was kind of a really neat twist on this.
Yeah, because you expected, you saw like the girl I mentioned, Lexi Drips. You expected her the way you were introduced to her, the way it was typical 80s fashion, like, oh, she works there. Oh, I have a little crush. On her kind of a thing. And yet, and then so you expect. I said, okay, I see where this is going. And you know which girl is going to, sorry for all our female listeners, but you know which girl is going to show her boobs in this. Yeah. And she's gonna die, and there's some of that in it. But you're right, though they flipped the script on in terms of who is the final girl per se.
So I really like that, and I also thought the special effects and kills were fantastic for a low budget movie.
Oh, yeah,
they were really, really good.
Well, we say it's low budget. It may have been not that low budget. I don't know what it was. It gave a low budget vibe, but to its positives. I think it was intentional, that look of it. It couldn't have been that.
Well, this was a Kickstarted film, so I don't know what the final budget was.
That's right. You're right. It was. Well, but Kickstarter. Some Kickstarters will they just want to get a certain cost to do like finishing fees or something, or who knows, for all I, because I could see Linnea Quigley is probably the type of person that probably is like not going to say like, well, give me $50,000 to appear in this. She'd probably do it for the love of it.
Yeah. I'm gonna see if I can see if I find the budget while we're talking about it.
Oh yeah, because sometimes on IMDb they actually have the budget on this.
Yeah, sometimes you'll see that.
Do you want me to, while you're looking, do you want me to go through some of the trivia?
Yeah, go through. Yeah, we had a lot of trivia for this one that's very interesting.
Yeah. So it's funny, it says the original special effects artist was fired, and every scene with the effects had to be reshot, which cost the production thousands of dollars. So that's appropriate to writers were trying to look for what the budget was. So think about it. So they obviously had, I guess this whatever special effects guy they used, maybe he was better, because I tell you, like we were saying, the killers in this were really,
and not just that. I do have
costumes.
To point out they use a special effect for there's some supernatural elements to the villains, obviously, and when they're killing them, they use that animated electricity effect you saw in all the 80s movies back then, which is just perfect. I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, which I'm sure they probably could have made look better if they wanted to, but it wouldn't have fit.
No, they did it perfectly.
I think that was the perfect way. Yeah. So, and then here's another thing. So it says the production was plagued with issues and eventually shut down halfway through filming. However, director Justin we'll say Shaman, just apologize if it's wrong, convinced the entire cast and crew to come back and finish his lifelong dream project. Almost everyone came back and worked for free, even after some of the actors had moved to New York, because they all believed so strongly in the director's vision. So that's something, and you got that from this movie because everyone was all in. You could tell. Everyone was all in this.
Yeah, and for this to be such a troubled production, it does not show it at all.
Right. And do you see that Justin, the director himself, portrayed the boogeyman as a last resort because they could not find an actor who was willing to undergo the extensive makeup required for the part.
Wow. Yeah.
So that's craft. That's a love of your craft. You're putting yourself in that kind of makeup.
Yeah. So, I'm still looking. I haven't found it yet.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so the next one is Linnea Quigley, who we mentioned, who's amazing. And it said she was a late addition to the film. She'd originally been approached by the director to play Mrs. Barnhart, but she couldn't fit it into her schedule. Crew member was asked to play Mrs. Barnhart after they failed to find any actress they liked. As luck would have it, when the trailer was released online, Linnea saw it and told her manager that she wanted to do it. They reshot the scenes with Ms. Barnhart after production had already wrapped to include her. She had gone to praise the film and admit she was glad she eventually accepted the role. She even urged her fans, this Halloween, if you don't see it, I'm coming after you with a chainsaw. But you gotta love Linnea Quigley. We didn't get to talk to her, really.
No, we didn't.
At the HorrorCon, which was one of my few regrets at that HorrorCon that we didn't get to talk to. She was pretty big. She always seemed to have people around. Yeah. And it was just where her table was. It was like, well, a couple times when we went over there, I think she was taking a break. We kind of passed her a bunch of times, but we never really got to interact with her, and that was one regret I think I had. One of the main regrets at the horror con. One of the people that I wish we would have gotten to speak to more. Or really get to speak to. I mean, it was it's tough. You never can go to these cons and ever probably accomplish 100% of what you want.
Yeah.
There's always kind of like something you miss, something you don't get to, but that's why they're great, because you can go back and go to the next one. So, I guess here's another thing. That the film is based on a series of comics, which now Tim is already rifling through his wallet to get ready for this, that the writer-director created as a kid. Oh, no, sorry. Okay, he was kidding. He said he still has his comics to this day. So, Tim, you can't buy them.
But that's,
apparently.
I mean, how cool is that, though, to bring your childhood story to life? That's just a fascinating...
Yeah, literally. No wonder why he tried so hard. But you see, that's probably why this movie is so good as it was, and how it really resonated with horror fans. It was created by a horror fan who loved it and wanted this more than anything, and he got it, and it's great. So, and also there is a proposed sequel, which kind of obviously you just assume.
Which was funded. It was already funded on Indiegogo, yeah.
Right, it's funded, yeah, which is great, and it's cool. This says the proposed sequel will be called Barn 2 Zombie Railroad. I don't know if that's still the title, because I do see it in IMDb where it's up. It does say The Barn 2. I don't know if it's actually gonna be called that though. It just says The Barn Part 2 right now for 2020, and it looks like they're getting Linnea Quigley back, Ari Lehman back, Lexi Drips back, Will Stout back, Mitchell Mussolino back, and someone named Lavari. I don't know if that's...
I couldn't find a budget, but I can't imagine it was very high.
Right, yeah. So, I mean, it's supposedly be releasing next year, and definitely very excited to see what that come up with the sequel, since we love the first one. And then it says, oh, here's an interesting thing. It says the movie also has an 80s style throwback video game based on the 80s side scroller games.
Oh, wow.
We need to track that down.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
Yeah, we need to track that down. Then it says, our good friend, I say Lou's friend because obviously we never met her, but since we mentioned her a lot, Lexi Drips was the first actor on the first day to audition. The director and producer felt she was perfect for the role. I agree. But continued to audition actors for Michelle because they thought you can't cast the first actor you see. They eventually went with their first choice and cast her. And she was great in the role. Perfect girl next door type. Very likable.
Yeah, I liked her a lot. She was good.
Yeah. And then it says Rocky Gray, a Grammy-nominated musician and composer of the film, approached the director after discovering the poster online and offered to do the score. I mean, look at this! What this guy?
It all came together.
It seems like people were screaming to be in it. Like people were asking him to be in this. So that's why it's awesome. This is funny. Nearly all the wardrobe was found in thrift stores.
Hey, yeah.
Obviously adds to the authenticity of it. It says all the actors who played the surviving characters have agreed to come back for a sequel, as we read. It says character of Nikki was originally conceived as a ditzy blonde cheerleader. After Nikki Darling impressed the director with her audition, the character was changed to be a rebellious rocker chick who used to be a cheerleader but was kicked off the squad. Which is kind of funny because she was actually a pretty cool character. And then just a script change, which I'm not going to read because if you don't see it yet, you're not going to know what we're talking about. Anyway, it says the film was actually shot in the fall, but the early onset of winter that year made night shoots incredibly cold, dropping to 12 degrees some nights. Nearly all the actors got sick. Oh. But once again, it seemed like they did not care because they actually had so much fun doing this movie. They probably didn't regret one thing.
So, guys, go check out The Barn. It is fantastic if you like 80s style horror, and this is one of the best examples of a modern 80s style slasher done right and really makes it look retro. I absolutely love this one. This one's going in my Halloween rotation from here on out. It's got that great feel to it. I mean, it's just a lot of fun. All right, so Brian, what is our beer pairing for The Barn?
Okay, well, obviously, this is going to come no shock. I looked and I found Candy Corn Imperial Cream Ale.
Sounds good.
by the Urban Growler Brewing Company out of St. Paul, Minnesota, and it's 8% ABV, so it's actually pretty strong, and 18 IBU. Now, I'm going to read to you first a quick little synopsis on the brewery, because this is a brewery that I have now on my bucket list to go to. It says, welcome all. Urban Growler is the first woman-owned microbrewery in Minnesota. So that's always nice, especially, we're a lot of things in women in horror. It's nice to see that there's an all-woman brewery actually out there. So it says, join us inviting our taproom, kitchen, and beer garden 6 days a week. Yep, you can come in for lunch. It says we're located in St. Paul, but we're darn near the middle of a middle between the downtowns of Minneapolis and St. Paul. We make traditional beers and a wide variety of specialty brews with a local twist. You can also find our beer on tap around town. Wherever you find us, we're beer for you. So, Tim, look at that. They love us. They gave us a pun.
Nice.
They gave us a pun. And they actually have a harvest series of beer. If you look at their site, definitely go check them out. There's a lot of experimental stuff, a lot of cool seasonal stuff. Seems like they're always doing something new.
Cool.
Which I love about a brewery. And I looked at the thing. It's in a cool old industrial building. Not industrial, like a little old brick type of old building. Kind of like it could have fit easily in downtown Wilmington over there. It just looks like one of these breweries that you just would love to go visit. So it's on my list. But now I'll read to you the description of our candy corn imperial cream ale. It says, some might say there's no such thing as an imperial cream ale, but some might say there's no such thing as monsters. But that doesn't keep you from checking under your bed, does it? Celebrate Halloween and the rest of the fall with specialty beer brewed with plenty of candy corn. This beer is smooth and strong with notes of caramel and a touch of sweetness. I bet you just like those lovely women that run this brewery. It just seems like they just look like that from the picture. This brewery, I told Julie, I said, is it possible to absolutely love a brewery without even stepping foot in it? Because I love this brewery and I have not tried a beer from there. I have not stepped foot in it. But I tell you, this is on my list. If I am ever in Minnesota, this is going to be one of my guaranteed stops.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
I wish these ladies the best of luck because we visited a place called One Woman Winery one time, and it was kind of really a unique perspective when you have, because most of the time you're looking for big, burly, bearded men running breweries. It's nice to see a change.
Well, that's like one of the ladies that runs the Durham distillery. Same thing. I mean, she was freaking awesome. And there's several ladies there working that distillery, and just fantastic people. I loved it. Nice. All right, so our triple threat from last week, we were looking for a movie. Did you get it? It was Night of the Creeps. Clue number 1, I had one of the all-time movie poster classic taglines, and it was almost uttered verbatim in the actual movie. We're referring to the tagline, "The good news is your dates are here. The bad news is they're dead." Tom Atkins speaks the line almost verbatim in the actual film when he says, I got good news and bad news, girls. The good news is your dates are here. A girl replies with, what's the bad news? And Tom Atkins responds with, they're dead.
Yeah, which is a rarity when you actually have a quote so close to the cheesy tagline. And that's, by the way, if that's not one of your favorite movies from the 80s.
Yeah.
What's wrong? I love that movie. And of course it has, as KK Sam likes to say, thrill me. It's got one of the best Tom Atkins performances ever.
Clue number 2, all the last names of the characters in this film are based on horror and sci-fi directors. So in Night of the Creeps, the last names of the characters are as follows. Chris Romero for George Romero, John Carpenter and Toby Hooper for James Carpenter Hooper, David Cronenberg as Cynthia Cronenberg, James Cameron for Detective Ray Cameron, Detective Landis, of course, refers to John Landis, Sergeant Raimi refers to Sam Raimi, and Mr. Miner refers to Steve Miner.
Yeah, that's kind of a cool little trivia piece there, I thought.
Clue number 3, the director made a clever homage to one of his previous popular films with graffiti written on the bathroom. In the scene where JC is trying to escape the slugs in the bathroom, written on the wall is Go Monster Squad, which is one of director Fred Decker's previous films, which I knew about.
Which one of my favorites.
Yeah. And we're going to do, that's another one we want to do at some point.
Yes, that's definitely going to be on the I kind of wanted to have, that was one of my first choices, actually, when we have Theme Park Families on, but I wanted to kind of up the game, but maybe we'll have to have them on back, because I'm sure everyone will want them to have twice. They're good friends of ours. They're awesome.
All right, so this week, actor or actress. Clue number 1, I've had well over 100 roles, and one was particularly grand. Clue number 2, I once played an antagonist to the Avengers, although I was not a supervillain. And clue number 3, while I had many a horror role, I turned down playing one of the most iconic horror characters. I did, however, star with the actor who took the role several times.
I think
this was a very clever one, I think, Brian. I think you outdid yourself with this one. This is a great one.
I was if I do say so myself, I was extremely proud. I actually texted Tim. I said, I am so happy with the triple threat I came up with. I think between the wordplay and the choice and
lots of clever wordplay.
Right, and I think it's a perfect level of difficulty.
Yeah, this is a great one. So you guys, we'll post that on social media, of course. And it's time now, Brian, for our Submundo.
Yes. And by the way, everyone let us know if you like this segment, because I know we have fun with it. But of course, if no one's really enjoying it, we don't
could
need
drop
to do
it,
all the time.
or we could just do it every now and again.
Yeah. But okay, Tim, you know the drill. I am flipping through the book. You let me know when to stop.
All right, and stop.
Okay. Okay, let's see. I gotta look at the... You know what? I know we only pick one, but I kind of might read just the other one afterwards on the other side of it. That's not as like gross, just because it's kind of funny. But anyway, so here's your question, Tim. Would you rather drink a glass of your own day-old spit or your own sweat?
Oh no! See, I'm very weak stomached. I'm very weak stomached with this. Oh,
yeah.
This is kind of making me gag
tough.
right now.
This one's tough. So I'll give you mine. Okay, I would, and I know this is going to sound hard. It grows. I know this is disgusting, but I think I'd pick my own sweat, because how many times are you sitting there and you're sweating and your face sweats and it drips into your mouth and it's that salty taste?
Yeah.
But you're used to that. But imagine your day-old spit sitting there, festering. God knows what else got into it. I couldn't do it. I'm sorry. Unless I was watching this thing for 24 hours, making sure nothing got into it. And then it'd still be almost impossible to do. This is literally kind of making me
sick.
I'm sorry.
I don't know if I can answer this. I don't know. I guess I would go with the sweat one too, but I'm literally like almost gagging.
Yeah. Well, here are some nice little trivia that'll make you ungag. It says if you spit from a standing position and it freezes before hitting the ground, it's at least 40 degrees below 0 Fahrenheit.
That would be cool. I would like to see that.
Yeah, I do want to see that. Then it says human bodies actually contain anywhere from 2 million to 4 million sweat glands, which cover every square inch of the body except the lips. Now, this is the one I want to read to you because it's just kind of funny, the second choice of this. This would be one I'd never pick because it's not even horror-related, but this is just fun. We don't even have to answer it. It's just funny. It was, what would you rather do? As a man, find out that your fly was open all day, which, since I live that, that's already happened. I forget to do that. It says, or that your shirt tail was out, you missed the belt loop, and your pants leg was stuck inside the top of your sock.
Oh my god, that's silly.
It just cracked me up because it was so detailed, that second one. The first one is like, your fly's open. Then the second one is like this menagerie of mistakes.
I think both of those have happened to me in real life, so I don't think I don't think I need to answer that one. I've done both. All right, guys, so we will see you back here next week for a very special episode, and I don't mean we're going to talk about alcoholism. It's not that kind of very special episode. No. But it will be good. This is going to be, this will be something I think really, really fun. Really, we're really excited about it, and it's definitely something we've never done before, and I just think it'll be really, really enjoyable for everybody. So. All right, guys. We'll see you back then. Watch out for that candy corn scarecrow. And don't say trick or treat 3 times in front of the barn.